Friends, here's the new game that my people, the Jewish people, are expected to play with anti-Semites. They go on day and night on social media and say the most cruel, sociopathic, and appalling things against us. They say there is only one solution. They say from the river to the sea. They say the most offensive and hideous statements that call for the absolute annihilation of our people. That's what they do. Then, when it comes to us, we need to take the balanced approach. We need to support a two-state solution. We need to recognize their right to exist. We need to apologize for everything difficult that happens to them. And we need to show the balanced, cold, considerate type of consideration for them. And that's how it goes on. But this madness cannot continue because the tolerance of Western society for the kind of speech that they put out there cannot continue. It cannot be acceptable anymore. What we've seen on college campuses, what we have seen become normalized in their rallies, in their all these different activities that they have, whether it's on social media or in person, cannot be normalized. Polite society cannot accept the fact that there is a group of people who need not show a single shred of empathy, need not call for the release of our hostages, need not recognize Israel's right to exist and the 10 million people living in it to live in dignity and honor. They need not have an important recognition of the facts, the reality, the archaeology, that the Jewish people are indigenous and did live in the land of Israel for thousands of years. That cannot continue because dialogue requires both parties to come to the table. And if you've seen what's been going on in the past year and a half, the extremist type of talk that they had has been successful on the streets. It has been very successful on campuses, but it has not been successful in helping anybody in Gaza, in the West Bank. That's the bottom line. The bottom line is if you want to win the war of TikTok, then they should continue with their one-sided and inflammatory speech. Fine. But if Palestinians, if their supporters want to make sure that actually there's a better future for Palestinians, a future of dignity and respect, which, by the way, I do believe they deserve. If they don't do that, then things are not going to change for the better. So the bottom line is the extremist kind of rhetoric that they've been putting out there can win them all the likes they want on TikTok and can get all the extremist students on campuses on their side and all the crazies on the streets of big cities to come march with them. But if they are interested in making sure that the Palestinians living in the West Bank, in Gaza, do have a better future than what we've seen in the pictures, horrible situation, living in rubble, just decimated cities, if they want something else, then we need a different kind of talk. We need talk that acknowledges Israel's right to exist, acknowledges Israel's right to have borders that are safe and secure, and we need to acknowledge that the kind of rhetoric of from the river to the sea, intifada, or all the kinds of chants that they've been making are not acceptable. And unless that happens, they will get the same of what's been going on. And what's been going on? What has been going on is that Gaza is in dust, the West Bank is in chaos, and there is no progress in the life of Palestinians, which is a tragedy. Again, the Palestinians I do believe they deserve a better future than this present. But you need to speak to the supporters of the Palestinian cause and say, look, is your goal to just delegitimize Israel, or is your goal to build a better future for Palestinians? And unless they say, okay, actually my goal is to make things better for them, then there's nothing to talk about because they're just out there to garner hate and rally anti-Semitism up against local Jewish communities. And so next time you see someone with that Palestinian pin or chanting those chants, ask them, is your goal to help Palestinians living in the West Bank, in Gaza, or is your goal to fan the flames of hate? If your goal is to fan the flames of hate, keep doing what you're doing, keep posting those TikToks, keep rallying in the streets and saying those extremist lines. However, if your goal is to actually help Palestinians, which we hope it is, then you need to sit down at the table, You need to acknowledge Israel's right to exist. You need to acknowledge the historical connection that Jewish people have to the land. You can do that while acknowledging the Palestinian side of things, and at the same time call for a solution that comes through diplomatic conversation, engagement, and making sure that both sides are treated with dignity. But hate and extremism will win you social media. They will not help anybody living on the ground.